This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Orange Blossoms the song, Alyssa Orange the guest, pink was the color last night at Bud Walton Arena. It looked pretty sharp last night, Alyssa, on the court and in the stands. I really thought it was cool that the men's team did it. I'm used to seeing the women's team do a pink uniform or pink zone, every year. But I thought it looked good last night. I don't know if it's a thing they'll do every year, but maybe they ought to think about it.
Yeah, hey, I think they should keep wearing them until they lose, to be quite honest. They're going to keep playing like that in them, if you ask me, Phil.
That's a good point. You know how athletes are. Matt, would you go along with wearing the same uniform game by game if you kept winning in it, even if it was a color that might not be in your closet?
100%. I'm not superstitious, just a little stitious. But athletes, man, you look good, you play good, you eat something one day pregame, you do something, lace your shoes up, you do it the same way the next time.
Alyssa, what was the energy in the building like yesterday? Grant talked about it in the first hour of the show, that it felt different because of, more students in there than usual, and you didn't have the 19,000 that you might expect.
Yeah, I have to take Courtney Menz's word on it, and she said it was really fun. They were able to open it up to students to really sit kind of just around general admission because they just assumed not as many people were going to be at that game because of the weather. I had to be back in studio kind of manning it down. But from what I saw and from what Courtney said, she said it was electric. And, of course, you're feeding off the energy that the team is bringing. And from tip-off, it was loud. And that's what you want to see from a team and its fan base when they need it the most. I think this Arkansas team really needed that, to see that support despite the weather outside, that people are going to still come out and support them and cheer for them and be kind of that sixth man for them when they're trying to turn this around.
Four guys in double digits, and I can't say enough good things about Devo Davis. The defensive end and his last few games, just how good and his shot selection has been so much better these last couple. Like, none of his shots have a chance to get blocked. He's playing with confidence. How fun was he to watch yesterday? Yeah,
absolutely. Hey, you just mentioned whatever you're eating, you keep doing it. If you're winning, Devo needs to keep eating whatever he's been eating before games from yesterday because of the way that he played. And I think that the biggest thing is his defense hasn't changed. He has played stellar defense in the SEC so far this season. He's actually shot and scored pretty well, but it's the mistakes that he makes that overshadows all of that stuff. And so the past couple of weeks, we've just been talking about mistakes that Devo has made that has been costly in games, and that really supersedes what he's doing well. Well, last night, he didn't make mistakes. And we were able to focus on, holy cow, look at how he is guarding Adam Miller. Look at how his shot selection is. Look at how much of a leader he is. There was that one time in the second half when LSU started to make that run, Devo called the timeout. I don't necessarily think Moss was very happy about it, but that's what you see from a leader who says, okay, this game's getting a little out of control. Let's call a timeout. Guys might be a little tired. Let's catch our breath. Let's go back out on a run, which is exactly what he did. And what we're seeing right now from Devo is the evolution of a leader, because this team really didn't have one. The guy that could lead this team has been sitting on a bench with a knee management. Hopefully we can see him here in the next couple of weeks. But what we're seeing from Devo Davis is what this team has lacked in leadership, and he's proven it on the court now. And if he can be that leader for this team down the stretch, they can turn this thing around and make a run.
I'm going to switch over to the women's team for a moment here because you got a 5-game stretch coming up here and we talk about getting the men's team on a roll. Mike Neighbors' team has an opportunity to get on a roll, too. They got a couple of decent teams that are coming in here in Alabama and Ole Miss in the next 2, but they don't play LSU and South Carolina back-to-back again. They don't play South Carolina again. Good thing. I feel bad for any team that has to play the Gamecocks twice in a year. Judging on how they played against LSU, and I don't think they had much left for Carolina, I think this team is ready to go on a roll.
I think so, yeah. And I think when you look at the way that the schedule builds up, it's kind of very similar to the men. Get that stuff out of the way early. And now you look ahead to these last 9 games of the regular season. You have Alabama coming in and Ole Miss coming in, and those aren't cupcakes by any means. You can't just walk over these teams. We have seen the battles that Arkansas has had with Ole Miss specifically in the past. And so that game is going to be fun, and it's going to be a back-and-forth battle. But you have the opportunity coming off the way you played LSU and then what you've learned from South Carolina and how to win at a high level, which is rebounding. I think you take a lot of those lessons and you implement them and move forward. And this is an Arkansas team right now, guys, that is looking to see if they can be that number 3, number 4 team in the SEC. You've got LSU and South Carolina at the top. You've beaten Kentucky, and we've seen that Kentucky is struggling a little bit this season. Can you beat Tennessee down the road? Can you win these games? Yeah, and be the number 3 team in the conference.
It's not to put one game as this is the game or anything like that, but I'm looking at this. Game. Well, it is the game, honestly, because you got to beat somebody that you're not expected to beat when it comes right down to it. I mean, one thing that the women's team has done is they've beaten the teams that they should beat. They haven't beaten one of the teams that would be favored against them yet. And even though the Tennessee game is at Bud Walton Arena and it's in 3 weeks, I still feel like because it's Tennessee and they've got that, they've got the power T, and they have played well for the most part, especially in conference. I think if there were odds on that game, Tennessee would probably be favored. And I want to see Arkansas beat a team that is favored against them. I don't think it's happened quite yet. Maybe the Creighton game, but that's it.
Yeah, maybe that game. Maybe Kansas State, if we go back and look at that Kansas State game, just because Arkansas wasn't ranked yet. But, yeah, I mean, you had some good wins in the non-conference. You got to make that happen here in conference play. And Tennessee, Kentucky was that one early on, but now we've seen how Kentucky has struggled, so it's not as strong as it was at the beginning of the season, though it was on the road. But now you got to come in here and you got to be able to take care of business against Alabama and Ole Miss. Just really play solid basketball the way that we've seen this team play, rebound a little bit better, get better defensively, and then be able to beat a Tennessee team. And I think that Arkansas can leave its mark. But you got to be the fact that this team plays Tennessee at home is the biggest strength that they have in that game.
Alyssa, Pig Trail Nation covers everything involving the Arkansas Razorbacks, and so Friday night at Barnhill, it's gymnastics. Are you ready for what that's going to be like with LSU coming in and Olivia Dunn, who's the most famous, and I think she makes the most money through NIL and social media of any female athlete in college sports right now. And I don't even think she's been on the floor because of an injury. And I know that LSU is traveling with their own security detail. This is going to be, I think it's going to be really wild.
That's the word for it, Phil, is wild, and it is going to be a sight to see for sure because of just the aura that Olivia Dunn has around her right now. And you're absolutely right. She isn't really performing because she's a little bit injured, but she's just got a following where people, it's like coming out, to your favorite actor or athlete. You're just going to go even if they're not playing so you can just see them in person. And then you've got an Arkansas gymnastics team that's performing really well. They haven't won an SEC meet yet, but they're continuing to get better. Obviously very impressed with Nora Flatley, who is the All-American that transferred in from UCLA. But they've got a lot of young names like Cammie Weaver and Lauren Williams, who is just up the road from Bentonville performing really, really well right now. If you can get Kennedy Hambrick to kind of come along a little bit more and perform the way that we have seen her perform. This is an Arkansas team that could try to have an upset, but they're just fun to watch in general. And gymnastics is so weird because, yes, you want to obviously beat the other team, but it's all about individual scores and markings and your own highs, and it's different a little bit in a competitive sense, but they are fun to watch.
All right, so a snow day, potentially. Do you play in the snow with the kids? Have they learned how to make a proper snowball yet? You got to be a good parent.
Some. Finn's actually outside right now sledding with Saul. Belle's got a runny nose, so she kind of just got to touch snow a little bit. We've done a little bit more watching Coco Melon inside than anything else with her. But there's a hill. Our neighbor has a hill over here, and so they're doing some sledding over there. And it's all about the sledding technique at the moment.
Do you have a snow shovel? Have you shoveled snow before?
I personally, growing up in Virginia, we had a lot of snow days. We do not currently have one, no. I don't think that there's one in the garage. Our neighbor, who's the one who has the hill just outside our neighborhood, has a little, I say bulldozer, but that's not what it is. A little thing, and he comes and he'll bulldoze the clear out the driveway for us.
So you realize,
nice.
If you worked in a northern market, and this would have been 15 or 20 years ago, you would have spent the entire morning helping answer phones and relay information about school closings, because that's what television news was all about in the mornings, at least where I grew up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I remember watching the ticker on the bottom of the screen to see if school was closed, right? And my dad worked in TV news growing up in Richmond, and he had to work some of those winter weather storms that we had.
It's a family business. I didn't realize that TV ran in the family.
Yeah. He did. Yeah. He was a director and technical director, and then went into the promotion side of television. But I grew up in a newsroom, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool. We appreciate you hopping on with us, Alyssa. Thank you very much. Stay warm.
Thanks, Alyssa.
You too.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. Bet Online, where the game starts.